Last night's edition of Monday Night Raw on the USA Network led to a QR code which has led to the latest White Rabbit teaser in the form of a TikTok video. We're going to break every single detail and clue down that we got from the latest teaser, talking about coordinates, locations, record labels, possibly the return of Bray Wyatt. We've got it all covered in today's video. Plus, we're going to talk a little bit about SmackDown doing the best ratings and viewership numbers they have done since 2020. Of course, last night, speaking of Raw, saw the return of Edge, plus Candice LeRae is back in WWE. She made her Monday Night Raw debut last night. We're going to talk about that. The Bloodline, they're coming to Monday Night Raw in the season premiere episode 2. We'll speak about that. A ladder match has been announced for Extreme Rules, and Nikki ASH teases a major character change. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of WWE, and we have to start off talking about the White Rabbit. Yes, feed your head, because the latest White Rabbit teaser has been revealed, and what we were talking about yesterday, the checkerboard Reddit leaks, they were false. That was not what we got last night. Maybe it was the original plan, I don't know. Maybe those leaks got out and they decided to change tact a little bit. But man, we've got some really interesting details. We've got some real cryptic clues, and if you thought the mystery was getting even more mysterious, you were exactly right, because WWE, the White Rabbit, whoever it is, took it to a new level last night. This is really exciting stuff. So let's get into this. Okay. A new QR code has appeared on Monday Night Raw last night, and the code actually links to a TikTok video. Yes, we're entering the world of social media here. So let's get what you can see if you scan this QR code. Let's get a look at the TikTok video. So you can see it right there. It appears the White Rabbit appears once again in the form of a TikTok video this time. Now, obviously, it mimics the previously noted message. We'll get into this message, because what they've done this time is they've actually pieced together various WWE promos from history involving a bit of a who's who of WWE stars. So let's get into it. So you can see The Rock starts off with who. It then moves on to Randy Orton, I believe during his feud with The Undertaker in the mid-2000s on SmackDown, saying killed. The next image is Papa Shango saying the. The next image is Road Dogg, of course, doing his famous New Age Outlaws intro, saying the world. This goes into Kurt Angle, I believe, during John Cena's debut, saying you. This then goes to you did, which of course is the similar phrase, who killed the world, you did. This was a message that was put in the game of Hangman previously as well. But then it continues. We get an image of the aforementioned, or an actual real life version of a White Rabbit. Of course, the image that has been pushed out with all of these cryptic teasers. This then moves on to once again the Sandman from his ECW days saying you. This moves on to a promo from Edge, I believe in the Thunderdome era, so a couple of years ago, saying you did. This then leads to an image of Dink, I believe that is, at a baseball or softball game from the mid-90s. Then we have John Cena, which is from, I think, 2012. This is during a period of time where he's saying feed, and I think it's actually a Ryback. He's going to say feed me more, but it says feed. This moves into your from The Undertaker from his days in the mid-90s as well. Head, once again, from Al Snow. Who else could it be? So feed your head. Of course, that's how the White Rabbit song ends. Feed your head, feed your head, feed your head. It continues with Diesel this time saying feed. It then goes to Stone Cold Steve Austin from his famous King of the Ring promo in 1996. Austin 316 says, I just whipped your ass. So you get the your from that. Feed your, once again, head. This time it's Cody Rhodes from his time where he was broken, his face was smashed up, and he was wearing that mask. He was shattered. He was completely, obviously changed and all this kind of stuff. So feed your head once again. Now, it then shoots up these numbers on the screen, which you can see right now. 40701. That's, once again, 40701, which is an area code. We'll touch on that in a second. But we then get to the end of the TikTok. Once again, we get the image of the White Rabbit. You can see some coordinates in there. We'll touch on the coordinates in a second. Now, it must be said, once again, during a commercial break of Monday Night Raw, what happened? The song played inside the arena once again. again. It was the White Rabbit song continued to play over and over again, which is what we've seen in recent weeks. Of course, we have seen White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane play numerous times, not on television. It's always been in commercial breaks or live events in the breaks between the action, but we saw the same last night. So let's get back to the TikTok. You can see right there at the end of the TikTok and throughout the entirety of the TikTok, there's a little message. There's a little description in the video which contains more coordinates. Now, these coordinates actually lead to a place in Italy, which if you type them in, you can see them right there. It leads to a giant pink bunny art sculpture in Italy. This is honestly absolutely legitimate. You can see the image of the pink rabbit right there. This is a real place in Italy. It's a real place. So the coordinates lead to not just a white rabbit, but a pink rabbit as well, which is quite interesting. So this sort of bunny stuff continues. Now, I mentioned we were going to get onto the area code in a second. We will. But there's also a bit more of a hint, not just obviously the coordinates linking to the pink rabbit in Italy, but also the source code of the website. Yes, let's look at this. The source code actually gives us a bit of a hint, maybe not towards the Fiend Bray Wyatt, but another former WWE superstar, one that's actually making the headlines a lot at the moment, and that's Aleister Black. Let's look at this. So the source code of the website, which contains the latest White Rabbit teaser, possibly contains another hint, as the line, "No man is ever truly good, no man is ever truly evil." Now, if that phrase sounds familiar, it should, because this is actually the beginning line from Aleister Black's theme song that he used during a large chunk of his run in WWE. It's Aleister Black's theme. Now, in recent days, it has been widely reported by the likes of Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select that Malachi Black has effectively finished with AEW, and he at least told one person he wanted to return to WWE. Now, it must be stressed, Malachi Black actually went on Instagram last night and dispelled all of these rumors and pushed back on this idea he's been let go from AEW, or he's requested, or he's been granted a release. He actually said he expects to be back in AEW, so I wouldn't read too much into the Malachi Black stuff, certainly. But again, this is when it gets interesting, because I spoke about the area code that you can see on the screen right now, the area code. A lot of people have spoken about what the video means when it flashes to the number 40701. Well, actually, it's in a place in Kentucky, which is quite useful because Fightful Sean Ross Sapp is from Kentucky, or at least previously lived there. And Fightful Sean Ross Sapp noted that the number is actually the zip code of Corbin, Kentucky, which is a town where the Fiend successfully defended his Universal Championship against The Miz back in 2020. It's a town which WWE sometimes runs in Kentucky. As I mentioned, the Fiend defended the Universal Championship against The Miz there in January of 2020, which is certainly, that could be quite interesting as well. Now, this is also where it gets really, really interesting, guys, because it's not just the coordinates for a town in Corbin, Kentucky, which you might think, oh, what does that have to do with anything? Well, this is where it gets really kind of down the rabbit hole, as it were, because this is, really, it really is wild. So, bear with me here. There is a record company in Corbin, Kentucky, which is called White Rabbit Records. Now, it posted a video around 20 minutes after the latest QR code led to the latest teaser. Around 20 minutes later, it posted a video which was labeled 04062. That is the zip code for a city named none other than Wyndham, which of course is the real life first name of none other than the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Yes, these clues, these breadcrumbs lead to I believe it's a city, I think it's in Maine. 04062, it's the town of Wyndham. Now, to make this even weirder as well, White Rabbit Records as well, if you go to the channel and select the videos, White Rabbit Records hasn't posted a video in 15 years. The previous video that they had uploaded to this YouTube channel was Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit, which of course continues to keep playing during the commercial breaks of Raw, SmackDown, and the live events. You're telling me they don't upload a video for 15 years, and next thing you know, after the latest White Rabbit teaser, they upload a video that's 04062, which just so happens to be a town called Wyndham. What is going on? What is going on? This is next level sort of cryptic stuff, and I absolutely love it. It is, I mean, absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. And talk about going down the rabbit hole to see all of these teasers, see the latest teasers leading to a town called Wyndham, to a place in Kentucky, to White Rabbit Records is just incredible. It really is absolutely incredible. Now, again, furthermore, that's not the only links we kind of have from this. Furthermore, the link to the video actually features the letter and number combination of 930YWG. Now, on September 30, which is this coming Friday, WWE will be in Winnipeg for WWE SmackDown, and Winnipeg's airport abbreviation is YWG. It really is. There is also, as I mentioned, a 930 YWG in the URL of the White Rabbit video. As I mentioned, 930 is SmackDown on Friday. YWG is the Winnipeg airport. That's where the show is. Winnipeg, not the airport, of course. So, I mean, that is... I love this. You know me, we've spoken about this so much recently, haven't we, guys? We've done all of the White Rabbit videos. We've spoken about all of the clues and all of the teasers and all that kind of stuff. And as I mentioned, I love this kind of stuff. I love the cryptic nature. I love teases. I love trying to figure out these kind of mysteries. I love all of it. I think it's all fantastic. So let me know what you think. I think, obviously, given some returns, which we're going to touch on in a second, it's not Edge. Thankfully, it's not the Judgment Day, thankfully. The more this time goes on, the more we're pointing to the Fiend Bray Wyatt. I mean, we're pointing to his name at this point. We're pointing to a town of Wyndham in Maine, which is Bray Wyatt's real life first name. And just the level of detail involved in this is unlike anything I think I can ever recall in pro wrestling. I mean, the detail of every single detail that's in these videos, every single detail that's in these mini games. It's all linked. It's all linked. I sound like that guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with the string and all this kind of stuff, but it's true. Every single detail there is by design, and that's why I had to go through it in screenshot and literally every frame, because every frame does mean something. To the point of you're looking at numbers and letters, and they're connecting to towns and places, and I mean that. I'll get it back up on the screen. That's the records, the record label. This. I mean, that is just levels of detail that I can't recall ever seeing anything like. Not uploading Jefferson Airplane White Rabbit 15 years ago, not uploading anything, and then, uploading something just after it airs on Raw with a bunch of numbers, and that leads to the town of Wyndham. That is just next level stuff, and clearly it must be manipulated. Like, I doubt that Jefferson Airplane video was uploaded 15 years ago, or somehow they've taken over that. I don't know. I really don't know, unless they reached out to those people. I have no idea, but what I can tell you is it's brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant, and it's another level of cryptic and mystery that I can't recall in pro wrestling, and I think it's just fantastic. And the only thing is they have to deliver. That is my only sort of caveat in all of this, is that the hype now is so high and the buzz is so big, it has to be Bray Wyatt. If it's not Bray Wyatt, if it's not The Fiend, if it's anything less, or if it's a letdown, WWE will have a lot of explaining to do, because this is just next level brilliance. I absolutely loved it. Now, we're not just going to talk about the White Rabbit today. There's other news stories to get into. Let's get into this, because SmackDown is on a roll. We spoke about the preliminary numbers, didn't we, of SmackDown the other day, and SmackDown has received its highest viewership numbers in nearly or over 2 years. Yes, the Bloodline has brought more viewers to the table, apparently. ShowBuzz Daily released viewership information for SmackDown September 23 episode, and it drew in an average of 2.535 million viewers. This is the second highest for the show since March 20 of 2020. right at the beginning of the COVID-19 lockdown, and it's up 13% from the previous week. The only episode to chart higher than that was that Christmas Day episode in December of 2020, and that was actually following a load of football at the time, so it had a really strong lead in. But this time, SmackDown doing 2.535 million viewers is a monster number for WWE in this modern age. Now, the key demographic also saw a considerable boost, as SmackDown garnered an average of 819,000 viewers aged 18 to 49 for a 0.63 rating and an 18 to 49 demographic, which is up 25% from the week prior. Now, looking back at last year, the numbers are great for SmackDown. The September 24, 2021 episode had an average total viewership of 2.135 million viewers, making this week's show up 16%. In addition, the key demographic is also up 13% from the prior year. Now, it must be said, a lot of people are saying it's the bloodline, it's the bloodline, it's the bloodline. I'm sure that's part of it. Roman Reigns isn't on every SmackDown. He was advertised that his return was going to be this week, so I'm sure that helped. But actually, the Braun Strowman match and the 9:23 p.m. segment actually spiked the viewership, which is leading to people saying, actually, the expectation was, and the reason the viewership spiked at this time is because people thought Bray Wyatt was going to show up. They either thought he's going to show up during the Braun Strowman match, or he's going to show up in the 9:23 p.m. segment, or we're going to see the latest teaser of what this White Rabbit stuff is. So it just goes to show, kind of taking it back a little bit to the White Rabbit stuff, that this stuff is getting over. This stuff is getting over. This stuff is getting people to tune in, and it's doing something which they struggle to do in pro wrestling nowadays. A lot of pro wrestling feels skippable. If I miss it, if I don't watch it live, I can always find it on social media, or I can fast forward it. I can DVR it and I'll go back and watch it. It doesn't matter. Fans had to tune in live. They had to tune in live this week because they thought, I need to see what is going to happen. Is Bray Wyatt going to come back? I need to see who is the White Rabbit. Who's the person behind the White Rabbit? Is that person going to be revealed? Are we going to get the latest clue? What's going on? And they didn't get it, but they tuned in and they stuck around. Plus the bloodline, plus everything else that's going on right now. And I recall when Triple H took over creative, there were all those people saying, Vince McMahon leaving WWE is going to be the worst thing for this company. It's going to collapse. The product is better. Objectively, the product is better right now. And the viewership is reflecting that. Raw's up. SmackDown is up as well. And I think, frankly, this number is incredibly impressive, but these are kind of the numbers I think Fox expected when they purchased SmackDown, or they purchased the television rights for SmackDown in late 2018, beginning in 2019. I think they expected and hoped it was going to be around a 2.5 million viewer show, but I think what's more impressive is actually what they've been doing with Raw recently. That show felt dead, and whilst it might struggle, of course, in terms of the viewership now, especially with Monday Night Football returning, I think that both shows are enjoyable, they're watchable, and I think that viewership is reflecting that. So huge congratulations to everyone. I think it's tremendous stuff, really. Edge is back. Edge is not the White Rabbit, thankfully. We spoke about that yesterday, but Edge is back. Edge has challenged Finn Balor to an I Quit match at the upcoming Extreme Rules Premium Live event. Now, following Matt Riddle's victory over Damian Priest in the main event of the September 26th episode of Raw, the Judgment Day faction carried out a 4-on-1 attack on the original Bro, with Priest eventually hitting him with a South of Heaven. Just then, Edge's music hit, and the Hall of Famer charged down to the ring to a loud ovation in his home country. Of course, they were in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Edge immediately took down Priest with a spear before staring down Dominic Mysterio, who of course betrayed Edge at Clash at the Castle. Once Ripley pulled Dominic out of the ring, Edge nailed Balor with a spear. He then grabbed a microphone to address Balor and Judgment Day, injuring his leg with a steel chair earlier this month. He said, quote, "You have tried to finish me over and over, but I always come back. Even if it takes 9 years, I always come back. I never quit. And Finn, I have a challenge for you. For the first time ever, Edge versus Finn Balor in an I Quit match at Extreme Rules." Now, as I mentioned, there was previously speculation that Edge had been written off of WWE television after the attack, mostly due to the limited dates on his contract. Several reports suggested that Edge could have been kept off WWE programming until Crown Jewel or the Royal Rumble, but of course, those rumors about Edge returning sooner rather than later kind of built up more when we saw him on the poster, and frankly, the injury that he sustained in storyline was only enough to keep him out 2 to 4 weeks anyway. So Edge is going to be facing Finn Balor at Extreme Rules in an I Quit match, and that should be a fantastic match. I'm really looking forward to it. I think once we started to see, the Judgment Day versus Edge feud, and even before that, when Edge was the leader and he was feuding with Finn Balor, we hoped we'd eventually get Edge versus Finn Balor. So that's a really exciting match for Extreme Rules, and obviously huge ovation from his home country last night as well. But it wasn't the only return we saw last night. Candice LeRae is back in WWE. Not too much of a surprise considering Johnny Gargano is back, but great to see her back and great to see her finally on the main roster. She made her triumphant main roster debut last night on Raw, shocking fans in Edmonton by arriving as the surprise opponent for Nikki ASH. We'll talk about Nikki ASH later on. Now, prior to the match, Nikki was already in the ring awaiting her opponent, but there was no mention of her wrestling a mystery superstar. The fans at Rogers Place gave LeRae a rousing ovation as she stepped out to her old NXT theme music. The announcers would confirm that LeRae had joined the Raw brand. Of course, this was the first time she was seen in action since June of last year. Of course, she announced her pregnancy. She remained on TV for a while as part of the Way stable. Eventually, she went on maternity leave, and eventually she left the company after her contract with WWE expired in the spring of this year. But there was talk about WWE possibly extending her deal at the time due to her time away with injuries and pregnancy, but it appears that LeRae has signed a new deal to return to the company. Of course, Gargano recently returned to WWE, so the couple is back in the company, and great to see Candice LeRae back. An excellent addition to the main roster, and again, not totally surprising considering that Johnny Gargano is back, but that Raw Women's division is looking stronger and stronger and stronger, especially when Becky Lynch gets back as well. But it looks like it could only get stronger, possibly if we get the returns of Naomi and Sasha Banks at some point in the future as well. Speaking of Raws, we've got a big Raw coming up soon in October, the season premiere edition of Monday Night Raw. We already know that D-Generation X is going to be celebrating its 25th anniversary from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. But we now also know that the Bloodline will be on the season premiere of Monday Night Raw as well. During the commercial of last night's show, the company advertised the entirety of the Bloodline, including the undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns, will be in attendance on the October 10 episode of the show, which of course is being promoted as the season premiere of Raw. Extreme Rules, we know that the Raw Women's Championship will now be on the line in a ladder match. The stipulation for the title bout was finalized during last night's Raw, where Belair defeated Io Sky, Bayley's, of course, Damage Control stablemate, in a singles match. Prior to the match, Belair reminded Bayley that during their last singles match at Hell in a Cell 2021, she had nailed Bayley with a KOD from the top of a ladder. The painful memory of the spot would enrage Bayley, prompting her to challenge Belair to a ladder match in a few weeks at Extreme Rules. I think that this is going to lead to Bayley winning. I think this is actually a bit of an out for Bianca Belair because Damage Control can get involved, or they can tie her hair to a ladder. I think that'd be a fun way to do it. Tie her hair to a ladder, and then Bayley climbs up, grabs the title, and I think Bayley's going to win. So keep an eye out on that one. We were just talking about Nikki ASH. Finally, she has teased a big shift in her character. Now, following her loss to the aforementioned Candice LeRae on Raw last night, Nikki unmasked herself, sat on the mat, and burst into tears. The announcers alluded to Nikki having a collapse in the ring before WWE cut to a promotional video hyping up the upcoming Crown Jewel Premium Live event. Now, earlier this month, of course, Nikki was spotted throwing her mask in the trash, arguing with Doudrop in a backstage segment following their loss to Aaliyah and Raquel Rodriguez. However, Nikki went about her business the following week, and there was no mention of her ditching the mask or splitting from Doudrop. Of course, it was just over a year ago that she debuted her superhero gimmick, almost a superhero. I was never a fan of it. The videos are out there, and I'm a big fan of Nikki ASH, Nikki Cross. I think she's fantastic. So if this leads to her possibly reverting to Nikki Cross from NXT, the kind of crazed psycho Nikki Cross, I'm all for that. So let's wait and see what happens there. But there you go, guys. That's the latest WWE news. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner, and I'll speak for you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.